part of our Mid-Atlantic and Chesapeake marketing effort is to always evaluate our processes, procedures, and how we go about our day-to-day strategies, so that at the end of a project, a security end user gets everything that they need. And part of that process, you're telling me, is changing a little bit as far as our intrusion marketplace and how you're going about working with dealers and integrators and distributors. So perhaps give us just a quick rundown of what that means right now.
So what I've been doing over the summer is we've been onboarding new dealers. I've been finding dealers out there to be partners. I've been finding dealers out there that we can work with, and we've been bringing them on board. We've been signing them up for our dealer direct program. Now, Bosch has two intrusion lines, broadly speaking. We've got the B series that's available in distribution, that is good for light commercial, light industrial, for high-end residential. But it's not a one-size-fits-all product. We do have an enterprise-grade solution that's dealer direct only. You've got to be authorized before you can sell it. You've got to be trained before you can sell it. So what I've been doing is I've been going to the dealers and finding appropriate dealers and finding people that I believe can really work with Bosch, can really bring some kind of value to the table. And I've been helping them to adopt the enterprise-grade intrusion detection systems that we call the G series into their portfolio.
So in general, what does that mean to the end user? Like what benefit does an end user have by selecting, not that there's, every application is different. Every application is either simple or complex, or, unique to each facility or the requirements that an authority might have. Absolutely. But what is the advantage to a complex system of using an authorized Bosch dealer? What's the difference between authorized, or I hate to say unauthorized, but not specifically trained in that equipment?
Every end user on the enterprise level has had the experience of meeting with some slick salesperson that'll promise them the world. They'll come in and say, just buy our technological solution and it'll, it slices it, dices, and it'll make your teeth whiter, and it's amazing and awesome. Just sign on the dotted line. And then they shell out a large amount of money, and the product just doesn't do what it was supposed to do. And sometimes it's because the product is a half-baked product. Sometimes it's because the product itself doesn't have the ability to do what the salesperson promised. Too often, though, it is because the integrator can't solve the problem using the tools they have. It's because the integrator just doesn't have the background, the knowledge, the technological know-how to design a solution to the end user's problem. So what an end user wants to do is, if they've got a security problem, is to find a dealer that has true factory support. It's to find a dealer that has support from has somebody to help them design a solution, from the system design to the implementation to the final handoff of the solution. People are spending money on security products, not because they like to buy security products, but because they have a security problem. If an end user could buy 5 pounds of security and have it delivered from Amazon, that's what they would do. People typically don't buy an intrusion detection system because buying an intrusion detection system is cool or fun. It's not a TV, it's not a new car, it's not a new bicycle. So at the end of the day, you've got to know that the product that you're buying is going to do what you need it to do. And the best way to do that is to find a product that has the capability, but also find an integrator that has the ability to use the features of the product and to design the system and to install the system the way it was meant to be done.
let's stop for one moment, because getting the product to solve the problem has to come after you know what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could speak to me just for a second about how you and your partners are discovering these problems, sometimes before perhaps an end user even knows that it is a challenge or a problem or something that they need to upgrade.
Absolutely. Well, most of the end users that we've been dealing with for the G series, most of the integrators, the end users that we've been dealing with that require an enterprise solution, typically they'll have a security director, they'll have somebody in a security role who is experienced with their own particular security problems. Generally speaking, they'll know the problems that they have, or they'll have an idea of the results of the problem. They might not know why and how people are shoplifting, but they'll know that they are selling fewer items than they're ordering, for example. They might not know how people are sneaking things out of their warehouse, but they know that they have a certain amount of inventory coming in and X minus whatever percentage going back out. So they'll have a lot of our end users have a good idea as to what the results of their problem is and what problems they'll need to solve. Now, I've been in this business a very long time, and I have started to get a pretty good handle on technological solutions for common security problems. I like to take a ride with an integrator and with a security director to go down and actually put eyes on the site so I can see the vulnerabilities that perhaps a security director wouldn't see because they're not looking at the problem from a technological perspective, but instead from a results perspective. I can see vulnerabilities and I can propose technological solutions, and I can propose solutions that will enhance their operational solutions, which is usually what the role of a security director at a particular organization would be, to figure out operational security solutions. So what we do is we'll figure out what we could do to enhance those solutions. For example, give somebody a panic button if you have a place where staff might be attacked, to give somebody a camera that will send a snapshot to a security operations center under specific circumstances. So we have to work with the security directors, and we have to explain to them what technological solutions we have that might enhance their own operations.
So it's sort of like overlaying technology they might not know about with problems they already know about. How do we solve that? So how does that work into who you decide what integrators want to be a Bosch direct dealer? Which ones are a good fit for kind of the description that you provide where they're really digging into the problems? How do you decide? What is the geography? You know, you have basically Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Richmond, some big metropolitan areas.
Right.
How do you decide who to partner with and when you have enough dealers in that area?
So it all starts with a conversation. Somebody will call me and tell me that they want to be a Bosch dealer. And I'll ask them questions about their operation. Who are you? How long have you been doing this? What are you doing? What projects have you done in the past? How well has it gone? What problems have you foreseen? What problems have come up? How have you solved those problems? Most importantly, I'm asking them, why are you choosing Bosch, and why should Bosch choose you? If I'm going to spend all this time and effort in really giving a security company this kind of support, it needs to be worth it for Bosch, and it also needs to be worth it, more importantly, for the end user. So I'm trying to find good partners. I'm trying to make sure that somebody is already working in the space of commercial security or industrial security, enterprise-grade security, essentially. I want to make sure that somebody has the ability to understand our product. Our product is a fairly complex product. That's why we have a training requirement. We require every new dealer to send a minimum of 2 installers or 2 technicians, rather, to a class. We've got to travel to a Bosch facility and take a 2-day class in the programming. Obviously, the 2-day class is not going to give you every piece of information you know, but a 2-day class will give you basic grounding in the product, and more importantly, will help cut down on tech support phone calls. So we make sure that they have the ability to actually support our product. We make sure that they commit to training so that they'll know how to use their product. And I want to make sure that they're going to be the kind of dealer that is going to uphold the Bosch reputation.
So in my mind, you hit one particular sentence you had there was eliminating tech support phone calls. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, that means quite a few things. I don't have them written in front of me, but what it means to me is that if there is a challenge, the amount of disruption to the end user is minimized because the integrator is able to rectify whatever the programming or the application isn't exactly right. They're able to rectify that quickly without getting frustrated. And that relates to a better overall experience and solution for the end user. To the integration company, that means money saving and time saving, right?
A large number of our end users require constant security, which means that if they've got a security product in place, if they've got an intrusion detection system in place, typically speaking, they can't take that one offline until the new security system is in place, tested, and ready to be turned over. The longer it takes to do that, the longer an installation actually takes, the more disruption to the end user's operation there is, the longer they're paying. They're paying 2 different security companies to have a system in place, the longer everything takes. So the smoother an installation goes, the better for the end user, the better for the integrator, the better for us. Typically speaking, if I sign up a new dealer, I'll make myself available for basic phone calls or making myself available for basic emails. I'll be able to answer basic questions during the first couple of installations because I know that there's always a question that somebody forgot to ask. There's always a point that somebody didn't clarify. There's always a concept that somebody thought they understood but didn't quite understand. So in order to minimize the disruption on the operations of the end user, choosing a dealer that has that level of factory support makes the most amount of sense.
So I really appreciate you kind of outlining this from an end user perspective, because in the end, that's what matters.
Sure.
The device, the widget, not so important, except that it solved their problem. Without knowing what their problem is, without the ability to implement it and understand their problem, implement the solution, we all kind of come out of it on the short end of the stick, from the manufacturer to the integrator, perhaps the distributor, and most importantly, the end user doesn't realize the full potential of their protection, right? So on the screen, let's throw it up here, support@midchest.com. If somebody is interested in a Bosch solution or in becoming a Bosch authorized dealer, this is the email address that they can contact to get in touch with you and start the process. How long does that usually take? Just give me a brief rundown of what's involved in that. And then.
So we'll have to have a conversation, and I'll have to know. Well, I'll have to come up with a good reason why a dealer should be a Bosch authorized dealer. Once we have a conversation, I like to go down and physically meet with the team if possible. I like to meet with the sales team. I like to meet with management if I can. I'll try to talk to the technicians if possible. Once we do that, we'll send you a dealer application. You would send that back to Gina LaRocque in our office. She would send that back to Bosch. And once we have you authorized as a dealer, we would ask that you take the training. So you send 2 technicians to the training. We have regularly scheduled training in our facilities in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Fairport, New York, and Greer, South Carolina. Once you do that, then typically I like to tell a new dealer to purchase a panel and to familiarize themselves. I'll also be happy to go down to their facility and give all their technicians an overview. I can do a demo of the panel. I like to gather all the salespeople and gather all the system designers, give them an overview of our solutions, give them an overview of all of our features, all of our solutions, give them the sales tools that they need to win with Bosch over another competitor using somebody else's product. So once that's done, then they're usually in place to start winning business. They can go out then and start winning business, and we'll be in constant communication during the first few sales and first few installations so that everything goes smoothly.
And in the end, again, solving the person's problem who is the security director and the administration of that company, that organization, the government entity, whatever it is. Absolutely. So again, support at midchest.com. Ari, thanks for explaining a lot of this stuff. And as always, I'm sure you're happy to answer questions from anybody that has them. And so thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Matt.